Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Aaron Trevino, and we have a terrific guest here today. I'm very excited to see. We have David Dodge. He is a real estate investor. What's going on, David?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know this has kind of been in the works for a little bit, and it's great to see you, and glad to have you come on the show and share share some knowledge.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man. I am happy to be here. So, like you said, I'm a real estate investor. That's what I've been focused on for 15 years, man. I'm 35 years old as of this recording. I'll be turning 36 here in about a week. And I started investing in real estate 15 years ago when I was 20 years old. And I started by using a little strategy called house hacking. And have you ever heard of that before?
I have, but could you explain a bit about what it is?
Absolutely. So house hacking is essentially just a strategy that allows you to buy a property and rent out the other rooms in it, or you can maybe do it with a multifamily, like a duplex as well, and rent out the other side of it, and essentially cut your cost of living in half or even down to zero. So I did that in college, where I went out and I got a loan on a piece of property from a bank, and the mortgage on that property was about 1,200 bucks a month. It was a 4-bedroom house. So I just rented out 3 of the other bedrooms and brought in 1,200 bucks a month in income to pay the mortgage. So my only cost to live there was 1/4 of the utilities. And I did that 3 different times while I was in college. And really, I just did it because I wanted to buy rentals. I really wanted to be in rental property. Some of the richest people that I know, the wealthiest people that I know, they all owned real estate. It was a way for them to build wealth, but also to protect wealth, which is really, really an interesting way to look at it. Because if you have a lot of money in your bank account, the odds are you're going to get trigger happy and go buy some stuff, right? So when you have money in real estate, it's kind of parked, right? It's liquid in a sense, like you can cash it out, but it's going to take a couple months. So to me, real estate investing is like, every house I buy, and as of this recording, I think I have 70. Every house I buy is like a piggy bank, right? It's a piggy bank that it starts out really small. I actually have one around here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. It's all the way across the room. And but it's like a piggy bank. It starts out small, like this big, and every month somebody's depositing $200 or $300 in that piggy bank for you, right? And essentially over time, this is not a get rich fast thing, and anything in life that claims to be or get rich fast is probably a scam, right? But this is a get rich guarantee, right? Because somebody else is filling up this piggy bank, meaning that they're paying the mortgage off for you every month when you have rental properties. And there's a lot of other great advantages with owning real estate and having rental properties. A couple of them are you get cash flow, which is more money that you bring in than you owe the bank. So it's extra. And that's called passive income, guys. And the passive income, this may sound crazy to you, but is taxed at a lower rate than the money that you earn from your job. It's taxed at a lower rate. So, that's kind of crazy to me. And the reason is because rich people write the rules, right? The laws are written by rich people to protect rich people, period. Why is it that the highest taxed income is the income you have to work for? Because that's where the rich can say, let's just tax the people that are getting paychecks. It's the simplest. But when you get a paycheck from a piece of real estate, it's passive income. It's different. It's called cash flow. So you get the cash flow as well. And then additionally, you get a lot of tax incentives. So you're able to depreciate a property, even though it may be appreciating, right? But you're able to depreciate it on your taxes every year, which is basically a phantom expense. So it helps you pay less taxes on other money that is earned, maybe from earned income. So there's a lot of reasons why one would want to invest in real estate. To me, it was just a way to park money. I am terrible at saving money, like terrible, right? And if I ever get, 10 or 15 grand laying around, I'm like, let's go buy a house with it. And we'll buy a house for 100 grand and we'll get a loan on the difference, right? Or we use a method called the BRRRR method, which is a little bit more advanced, but we're able to buy houses, rehab them, rent them out, refinance them with a bank, and pull out all of the money. So essentially we'll go borrow 80, we'll put 20 in it, so we'll be into it for 100, but we'll go get a loan on it and it'll be appraised at, let's say, 130 or 140, and we're only into it for 100. So we'll go get a loan for 100 and there'll be enough equity in there that the bank says you don't have to leave your skin in the game. It's here already. So we gain that skin in the game. We earn it by buying at a discount and by improving the value of that property. So to me, there's just so many reasons why real estate is a place to be and one of the best investments. So moving back, right? I did the house hacking out of or during college. So after college, I went and had various jobs in sales and marketing. And then I decided that I wanted to own a couple of little small businesses doing some e-commerce, as well as, doing some website development and whatnot. And basically all through my 20s, I was either working for somebody else at a job I didn't like in sales or marketing, or working for myself at a business. And, it's very tough to be an entrepreneur, especially if you are trying to do multiple things at once and you don't have the laser focus. So that whole time, though, that I was doing all that, I was basically buying about a property a year. So basically by the time I was 30, I had like 12 or 13 properties, over the previous 10 years that I was able to buy and rent out, and I kept them rented and somebody else was paying those off. But here's the kicker. When I was buying these properties for the first 10 years, so from 20 to 30 years old, I was always paying retail. I was going and I was finding a real estate agent that could help me find a house on the MLS at full retail price. And then I would buy that house and I would either have the 20%, all of the first 10 years, all of it, the first 12, 13, 14 houses, right? All of those, I had to put down 20%. And go get a loan for 80%. So in the beginning, I didn't even have the 20%. I got a co-signer and I borrowed some money from some of my family members, right? So it was 100% financing essentially, but I paid them back and then I had these long-term loans with the bank. But essentially the point is that I always paid retail up until that point. And then at the age of about 30, I got wise and I said, I kind of want to do real estate full time, but I'm not really interested in being an agent. I don't really want to go show a bunch of houses, or I really like the investing side of things. So let's figure out what the best investors are doing, how they're doing it. And I just started studying and reading, buying courses, and trying to wrap my hand around the best way to be an investor. And I ended up hiring several coaches as well. And what was introduced to me was wholesaling, which basically means go out and buy a property for pennies on the dollar and then sell that contract. That's what wholesaling is. And I've done that about 500 times over the past 5 years. And the cool thing, though, that I really took away from the wholesaling was that if I can learn how to buy properties for pennies on the dollar. When I say pennies on the dollar, I don't mean like 2 or 3 cents on the dollar. I really mean like 50 to 70 cents on the dollar. But that's a deal when it comes to real estate. And oftentimes lower. But if you can get a property at 30% under retail, typically you can turn around and sell that for 20 to 25% under retail pretty quick. And you don't need any of your own money to do it. Essentially, you're controlling a property with the contract, and then you're selling the contract. Like that's it, right? So with wholesaling, I learned that, the key to wholesaling is marketing, and you are marketing to motivated sellers, or those who you would presume would have motivation. And when you find them, now you have a deal. And it really was, that was the cool part. But the cooler part was like, well, I don't have to wholesale it. Why not just go find a bunch of properties at a discount from these motivated sellers, and then I can add them to the rental portfolio if I want. I can fix and flip them if I want. or I can wholesale them if I want. The point is that when you buy at a discount, or when you learn to buy at a discount, you have a lot of opportunities. All of the doors open up for you, right? Because you can, if I buy a property at a discount, let's say a 30% discount, and I estimate a rehab of 20 grand and it ends up costing me 40 grand, I'm still going to break even because I had a great deal to begin with, right? So it allows you the ability to make mistakes and spend extra time on the project and not rush and not worry if you're buying at a discount. And that's really what my company, my partners and I, we do. Everything we do is at a discount. Never, ever in the last 5 years or the last 500 properties that I bought did I offer retail or even close to it, nor, this is the coolest part, nor did I need any of them. I don't need anything other than the house I'm in right here and that I'm living in, right? This is the only thing I need. So every property that I buy, I don't need it. I tell the seller that when I'm on the phone. I say, hey, listen, I'm an investor. I don't pay retail. But if you want to sell and you want me to make your life extremely easy, I'm going to offer you cash. I'm going to close fast, and I'm going to make it extremely easy to where you don't have to do anything. It's an as-is deal, guys. No painting, no cleaning. You can walk away, leave the house like it is. Don't even cut the grass anymore. It's all my problem now, right? But in exchange for all of that convenience, I'm demanding 30% discount on a piece of property that I buy. So what we end up doing is we wholesale the ones that we don't want, and we keep the ones that are great and make good fix and flips or have good margins, or we can add to the portfolio using that BRRRR method I talked about earlier that will allow us to buy it with somebody else's money, fix it up, get it rented, and then take it to a bank and say, hey, let's go get an appraisal on it because I got this thing. It's such a great deal and I improved it that you're going to want to lend on this one. And whenever you improve a property, it reduces the risk for a bank if they have to get stuck with it and they have to sell it. Put yourself in the shoes of a banker. Would he rather lend you on a property that's 25 years old or lend to me on a property that's 25 years old, but just got 15 or 20 grand worth of updates put into it, right? So not only are you buying low, but you're increasing the value with these updates. And then the last part of the BRRRR strategy is to refinance and repeat. So you get all of your money back. But again, all of these different things, Aaron, they become possible, right? And the way I look at it is when I buy a piece of real estate is I don't look at it so much as how much money can I make on it. Instead, it's, am I buying this low enough that I can screw up every possible way and still break even? That's kind of the way I look at it. So I tell my students, and I have tons of them, that if you are making an offer on a piece of real estate and you're not a little bit embarrassed, just a little bit, your offer is way too high. I mean, we go in at 50 to 60% of what that property would be worth to start if we're not taking repairs out. If we're taking repairs out, we'll go up to about 70, 75% and then take those repairs out. But essentially, on average, we're buying property anywhere between 50 and 60 cents on the dollar. So that's just really what it comes down to, Aaron. It's all about buying property at a discount. And again, once you have those discounts, you have a lot of opportunity. So one of the things that we say at our company is, hey, keep the best and just wholesale the rest, right? Keep the best and sell everything else. And that's just what we do. But it all starts with marketing to motivate sellers. So that's who I am and kind of what I did and how I got to where I'm at this point today. But I want to explain to your audience, what that means, right? So how that works. So I have a lot of experience and I really like doing this. I have a lot of passion for it. So I'm not going to stop anytime soon. But what I mean by marketing to motivated sellers and working with these people directly is you have to find people that are distressed, right? So we call them motivated sellers because they are motivated to trade you a discount in exchange for that convenience. But really what they are is just distressed. And it's not necessarily that they are distressed. It could be the property is distressed. It could mean that they are distressed. It could mean that both are distressed. It could mean that the seller's spouse or child is distressed, and selling this house will help solve another problem. And that's really what people have to understand. So what does a motivated seller look like? Well, come on, there's a million different things that could cause somebody to be motivated to sell. But the main ones are death, divorce, and disease, guys. That's going to be it. 3Ds: death, divorce, and disease, right? Now, you also have people that are getting relocated for their job. You have people that have back taxes for 3, 4, 5, 7 years. I've seen them as high as 15 grand before on houses that hadn't paid them in 10 years, right? Back taxes. Also foreclosure or pre-foreclosure, meaning they can't keep up with the mortgage anymore, right? Children coming into the world or going out. Like, sometimes people need to downsize or upsize. Did I mention job relocation? I think I did. And then, of course, if people, were to lose their job, right? So there's lots of reasons. Divorce. I think I mentioned that in 3Ds. But again, there's lots and lots of reasons why somebody would be willing to sell their property at a discount in exchange for convenience. So last year, Aaron, my company, this isn't me personally, my company, me and my people, right? We have a team of about 11. We bought 100 houses, man. It was like 98 to be exact. I like to round it up to 100. It sounds cooler, right? We bought 100 of them. Guess how many I needed? None. I don't need any of them, man. And that's the thing. So when we're going out and we're making offers on these houses, we say, all right, this is what I would be willing to pay for it. I want it at this price, but I don't need it. So if you're trying to ask a number that's retail or close to it, I'm not going to be able to help you. And here's what happens. People oftentimes will come to us and we'll point them in the direction of hiring an agent, and they'll go and they'll sell their house for 30 grand more than we would have paid them. And we're like, great. We're not trying to steal houses from people, but at the same time, we know our value, we know our worth, and that value of being able to pay cash, close fast, and not require them to make any repairs or do any painting or cleaning or anything is valuable. So what we do instead is we go in and we say, hey, we don't need your house. We're investors. We do this for a profit, period. I don't pay retail. I tell every seller I talk to, hey, I'm Dave with House Sold Easy. Happy to talk with you about your property. Before we get started, I just want you to know I am an investor and I don't pay retail. So if your house has a Zestimate, which isn't a good determination of value, it's a median. If you're asking a Zestimate, I can't help you. Like, I will disqualify myself before I even ask about the condition of the property because I don't want to waste my time, right? This is a numbers game. And I would rather talk to or get and stop my conversation 20 times right there than go on 20 times and waste everybody's time just so where I can get out there and make an offer to know they're not going to like it, right? Like, just be forward, be transparent. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So, Aaron, what I like to do though is I like to get out and I like to make offers on properties. And like I said earlier, sometimes people will go work with an agent, and that's great. Other times they'll list it with an agent and it won't sell, and then they'll come back. Or other times we'll follow up with them 3, 4, 5, 10 times until we catch them on that day or that week or that month where their motivation is high enough to where they're willing to sell it at a discount. 100% of, no, I shouldn't say 100%, 97% of the time, 98% of the time, I maybe even go as high as 99% of the time. When somebody sells a property to me, they know that it's worth more than what they're selling it for. They know it. It's only a couple times where maybe I don't know that it's worth more, right? We both don't. And I'm like, holy shit, I just sold it for 25 grand versus 15. Great. More than what I paid. But most of the time, when the seller signs a contract with me, they know I'm going to make money on it. And they know so if they read the contract even more because it says it in there. It says, I intend to flip, rent, sell, or assign this property or this contract. It's written in my contract. So I don't hide it. I'm very, very forward and frank and upfront about it. But again, we offer an awesome service though. So they know they're going to be, selling it at a discount, but in exchange, we offer them all of those things, right? And it's not always the property that's distressed or it's not always the person that is distressed. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's one or the other, right? So that's really what who I am and what I like to do. I've flipped about 500 houses over the last 5 years. Right now we have roughly 70 rental properties that we own and operate, and have used the BRRRR strategy to acquire probably 60 of them, 55, I'd say, of them with little to none of our own money. And we're actually in the process right now of doing a little bit of rebalancing, where we're selling some that we bought in the beginning that we had to leave 10, 15, 20 grand in, and then buying more that we can leave, maybe 1,000 in or zero. Like our goal when we refi is zero. And there's actually been a couple scenarios where we've walked with money, Aaron, but I don't want to increase my debt. So basically, if I can get the bank to lend me exactly what I owe the lender that I borrowed the money from to buy it and fix it, plus the interest, I'm happy with that. Because now I have an asset that's cash flowing a couple hundred a month. It's helping me pay less tax on other money that I'm making. And like I talked about this piggy bank earlier, somebody else is paying the damn thing off for me, right? So that's why I have so much passion about it. I think it's such a great way to invest. Also, it's one of the only ways to really use leverage and to use it responsibly, right? So like I can go out with, $20,000 and I can get $100,000 piece of property with a typical 80% loan. I may even be able to find a bank that'll do a 90% or a 95%, and I could buy something even of more value. But traditionally speaking, it's really, really, really easy to get a loan for 5 times the amount of money that you have in your hand or your pocket or your bank or whatever. Try doing that with stocks or bonds or anything else. It's just going to be very difficult. So you can use leverage as well with real estate, which is something that, you can see wealth just explode when you add leverage to the game. It's really, really cool. Yeah, man. And that's me. That's where I'm at. So I've authored 2 books. Both are on Amazon and Audible. First one's called The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate. I have a copy right here. Let me grab it. The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate is the first one, Audible and Amazon. And then the second one we just released maybe about 2-3 months ago, and it's called The BRRRR Method. And that's B with 4 R's. And that stands for buy, rehab, rent, renovate, or refinance, repeat. So yeah, 2 books available Amazon, Audible. And then I also have a free course, Aaron, that I'd be happy to give to all your listeners and viewers. And it teaches them about wholesaling. And the domain is so incredibly simple. It's freewholesalecourse.com. That's it, guys. freewholesalecourse.com. And this course will teach you everything that we do in our business to locate motivated sellers and how we are doing our marketing efforts. So you got to look at it like this big picture. Either you call them or they call you. That's it. It's that simple, right? So if you decide that you want to be calling them or even texting them, you got to figure out a list to buy or go drive around and find property addresses that you want to market to. And then you skip trace that information and get their phone numbers and emails, and then you call them or hire somebody to do that. Otherwise, you spend money on marketing your message out to the masses so they can say, oh, this guy's buying houses. Cool, let me call him. And that could be bandit signs, that could be radio, television, billboards, that could even be direct mail, lots of different ways. That could be pay-per-click, AdWords, Facebook marketing, you name it. But basically, you either pay to get somebody to call you, or you spend some time and money to get their number and you call them. And that's it. That's the whole name of the game. So in the free course, we explain how to find properties at a discount, how to do that marketing. We explain what you would want to do when you're on the appointment, how to run the numbers and how to look at the deal and how to evaluate it, and basically how to make an offer. We give away a free contract in our course, as well as a couple different calculators that will help you analyze and make an offer on the property. And then we even show you how to take that contract and put it out for sale on the marketplace and sell it and make a profit without any of your own money. So one thing I want to say, and I want to make this very, very clear, because you're going to see this a lot online if you haven't already. Flip houses with little to no money. Sounds awesome, right? I've flipped 500 houses in my life. 450 of them required little to no money. So it is possible in truth. People aren't lying when they tell you that. Now that's flipping the house. That's actually writing a contract to purchase it and then selling the paperwork. That's the easy part. The hard part, which doesn't necessarily always happen little to no money, is the lead. The lead you got to find, you got to buy, you have to spend time. So you have to have a budget, Aaron, either a budget for marketing that is a monetary budget that you use to buy your postcards or buy your bandit signs or buy your radio ad or whatever it might be. Or you have a time allocated budget where you can hop on a dialer and start dialing people, or go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or Zillow and find all the for rents or all the for sale by owners and start calling them and start making offers. And that's it. So that's what the course consists of. It teaches you how to get into these deals, right? So can you flip houses with little to no money, guys? Absolutely. I've done it 450 freaking times, right? It's very possible. And it's actually very simple. However, it's not really easy. Simple and easy are two different things. It requires a lot of work, and it does require some sort of a marketing budget to get the ball rolling, right? So I do coaching. I offer coaching as well, Aaron. And, you know, my job when I hire somebody or they hire me as a coach is to get them doing marketing right away. And then once they start doing marketing, it's like, all right, let's get you setting appointments. And then once we get you setting appointments, then we're going to get you making offers. And then once we get you making offers, guess what happens? People sign them and they come back. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, I got this house under contract. What do I do? Don't worry. The contracts we use give you all the outs in the world. You can't get in trouble, right? But we also build into these contracts 10, 15, 20, sometimes 50, 60 days. It depends on the deal, of course, of time that we call inspection periods that we are allowed to view the property, bring in any inspector that we may need, bring in any contractor that we may need, and most importantly, bring in our cash buyer investor partners. And we bring them in. And if we can find one of these before the inspection period ends, and they're willing to pay us more than we're willing to pay the seller, and we just we assign our contract or we double close it and we get paid. And we have none of our own money invested in the deal. Now we're going to have to spend time or money to get the lead though. That's the thing I want to make it very clear, because I think I was misled when I first started. You know, I'm like, I see these people doing it, and I flipped houses expensive as $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 with as little as $100. That's what I needed to open escrow with my little contract, right? You don't need the money if you have a buyer lined up. You sell it to them. But finding those leads, though, that requires a lot of work, a lot of energy, and a lot of time or money to do it. So that's just what I want to definitely lead with, because again, I'm all about transparency. But if you are willing to, I'm on a podcast, but if you are willing to invest the time and or the money into your marketing methods, then you can now find properties at a discount like I do and love doing and love teaching. And then you have all these opportunities, all these possibilities. If you want to wholesale in the beginning to make 5, 10 grand a deal, sometimes 15 or 20, depending on where you live, no problem. Stack up 50 grand and then you can start fixing, flipping, or buy rentals cash, right? Or use that money now to do renovations on rentals that you may have bought using private money. So many opportunities and different things that you can do, but none of it matters if you're not getting a deal. So you make your money when you buy, Aaron. Let's let this sink in for a second. You make your money when you buy, man. You get paid when you sell, duh. But you don't make your money when you sell. You make your money when you buy, period, man. So that's really what I stand for. So I also have a podcast and YouTube channel and all that type of good stuff. My podcast is called Discount Property Investor, because that is what I represent. I will no longer, and I haven't done this for 5 years since I learned about these motivated seller people. I didn't think that they existed, or I thought there may be only like 1 or 2 in an entire city. Well, the truth of the matter is anywhere from like 5 to 8% of the population is going through some sort of distress situation at all times, all the time, 5 to 8%. Not that same person all the time, but as they come out of a distress situation, somebody else is coming into one. And it's usually caused by death, divorce, or disease. So you just need to be there at the right time when those people need your help to offer them the ability to solve a problem for them. So I look at it like this, wholesalers in particular, we are the liquidity makers, right? So when you have a stock, unless it's some kind of crazy stock that's on a pink sheet or something like that, if it's a publicly traded stock, anytime the market's open, you can log into your website or your app and you can trade. You can buy, you can sell. It's liquid, it's instant. You may have to wait 2 or 3 days to get your money out. So what? Well, with real estate, it ain't like that. I don't like that word, but that's the only word I can use to describe it. It ain't like that. The reason is because you have to list that typically on the market, and people are going to want to come over and they're going to want to look at it. You're going to have all these showings. And then if you get a buyer, maybe they're going to send over an inspector who's going to send you a 100-page list of items that you can either fix, which costs time and money, or you can just say, hey, I don't want to deal with any of that. Why don't I give you $5,000 off the price? You deal with all that. So that brings the process or the amount down. Next, you have them typically using a lender. So they're going to send in an appraiser, and it has to appraise in order for them to get their loan. The lending process is going to take anywhere from 30 to 60 days. I mean, typically a piece of real estate to be able to truly cash out from the time that you you say, I want to sell this property to the time you get a deposit in your bank is 3+ months. So, it's not that liquid. I can do it in 3 weeks for you. That may not be that much better. It's still 3 weeks, but it's a whole hell of a lot better than 12, right? It's basically what 3 months is, 12 weeks. So you cut that process way down for them. And that's it, man. Aaron, we are trading convenience in exchange for a discount. I now know my value with my convenience. I didn't know that for the first year, but the last 4, I know it, and I pull back. I don't chase deals anymore. Somebody says, hey, my house is worth $100,000. I'm going to say, cool. Would you take 50 or 60 grand for it? Nope. Perfect. Bye. Goodbye. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. I'm moving on. Goodbye. Right? There's no reason for me to talk to that person anymore. Now, I'm not going to be a dick. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say, hey, I can't help you. I'm an investor. I don't pay retail, and I refuse to pay anywhere near it. Right? I mean, I don't care if that doesn't work for them. But what I will do is say I have agents that work with me or for me. I have friends. You probably have an aunt or a cousin or a brother or a relative or a friend that's an agent. They're everywhere. If you don't have one, I can obviously point you in the right direction. But if you're wanting that kind of a number, then you are going to need to put this on the MLS with an agent, right? And hopefully they can get you that number. But there's a downside to this. And the biggest one is time. Because when you hire an agent, they don't guarantee you a sale. They just say, we should list it at this. I think it'll sell nice if you do this or this. They're not the buyer, though. They're just there to help facilitate this transaction. There's no guarantee that it's going to sell, and there's no guarantee that it's going to sell at the price they suggest. Also, you are going to have seller concessions, which means they bring in an inspector, and they either require repairs. Sometimes they require the repairs depending on the loan they're getting. They may not be okay with you saying just take $2,000 off the price. The lender may say, no, fix the damn furnace. And you got to do that, right? So you're going to have seller concessions, and then you're going to have closing costs. You're going to have holding costs, which would be utilities, taxes, and insurance during the process that that it's empty. Typically, it's going to be empty when you got it for sale, right? And then, of course, they're going to have to pay 5 or 6% in commission, right? So look at it this way. The cost to sell a piece of property is like almost 10%. You know, like maybe 8 or 9 if you're savvy and you can get a deal from your agent and you don't have a lot of work that's needed, you know, or you got a cash buyer that doesn't take 2 extra months to get a loan approved. Like there's a couple things that can obviously cut that down. But traditionally speaking, you're looking at 3+ months to sell a piece of property, and you're going to get a 10% haircut. Not because you didn't sell it for that, but because you did sell it for that. And there's a lot of things that led up to you getting that number, and they all got to be paid for. And the agent's the biggest piece. That's 6% of that 10 typically, or call it half, you know. So, you know, not only is our people, when they go that route, not only are they really taking a 10% haircut and taking a 90% offer, but they're also adding 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes a year to this process. So what we say is, hey, instead of you selling it and getting 90 cents in 3 months or 10, it's a gamble because we don't know. Why don't you take 70 cents in 3 weeks? And that's it, man. That's how it works, right? And I don't say it just like that with the 70 cents. But what my job is to come in and it's to show you an offer, and it's to justify my offer as being fair. Is it going to be low? Hell yeah, it's going to be low. And I'm going to tell you right before I even make you the offer that you're going to not like it. I'm going to preface that, and I'm going to say, please don't throw me out of your house. But I'm going to show you how I came up with this number, and together we're going to work it backwards to show you how any and all rehabber, investor, flipper, landlord is going to look at this, because I'm all of that. I do all those things. So I'm going to tell you how this works. And it's simple, guys. I'm going to teach it to you right now. It's called the MAO formula. So if you are a real estate investor, you live and die by this simple formula. MAO stands for the maximum allowable offer. So basically this formula tells you what you can offer to anybody and everybody. And all of the people that I know in real estate, they use a similar formula, if not this exact same one. So maximum allowable offer equals ARV, which stands for your after repair value, multiplied by a discount rate, which we're just going to call 70% for simple math, minus a wholesale fee minus our repairs, and then minus a wholesale fee if we're going to be wholesaling it. And that's it. So MAO equals ARV times 70% minus repairs. That's it. So let's solve for MAO. Let's do this equation, guys. So MAO is our maximum allowable offer. So we need to solve for that. So next we go over the other side of the equation, and it's ARV times 70% minus repairs. Well, the ARV we're going to determine by looking at comps. So we're going to find other properties that are similar to this one in proximity, in size, in number of beds, in number of baths, in square footage. I mentioned that already. We're going to try to find a similar one that's been updated and it's sold recently on the MLS with agents and all that stuff. And we're going to find one and we're going to say, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this isn't me versus you. This is me and you versus the market. So this changes their perspective a little bit. I'm not here to beat you up on price. Me and you together, we're going to look and see what the market would bear. So is your house, does it look like these 2 or 3 other ones that we just sold in terms of size and location? Is it close by? Yeah, okay, yes. Now, let's look at the photos of these. This one here looks like it had a $50,000 rehab, beautiful house. This other one here looks like they did maybe 30 or 40 grand, but they put a new roof and new windows on it, and they even did a new driveway to it, and the kitchen and bath are all updated. They look great. So wouldn't you agree that in order for you to be able to get what they got, you're going to need to do what they did? Otherwise, you're going to need to bring the price down. I mean, it's common sense, right? And essentially what I'm doing is I'm justifying to them that they're not going to get that number. Now, if they wanted to go get a loan for 40, 50 grand in this scenario, it's hypothetical numbers here, guys, but if they wanted to go get a loan to go rehab their home, they could get the highest market value for it. They could get that after repair value, the ARV. It's the after value. So when I'm looking at a house, I don't look at it today like it is. I mean, of course I do, but in my mind's eye, I'm seeing this thing all shiny and clean and just looking great. And I'm like, nice. Now that we've done all that, what is this going to be worth, right? That's our ARV. So we start there. Next, we multiply that by 70%. Why? Well, I want to make 20% on my deals, and you should too. And I just told you that the cost of selling a piece of real estate is 10%. So if I want to make 20%, I got to discount this property by 30% because I'm going to take a 10% haircut when I sell it. So 20 and 10, guys, it equals 30. So stay with me. We're solving for MAO here, Aaron. So MAO is going to be the ARV times 70% or 0.7 minus our repairs. So if we come up with that ARV and we multiply it by 70%, which is the 20% profit margin and the 10% cost to sell, that gives me a new number. Next, I'm going to take out the repairs. Why would I take the repairs out? Well, because I'm starting with a number of this nice, clean, shiny house in my imagination. But in order for me to get it there, it's going to cost, I don't know, let's say 40 grand. So I need to take that out of the equation to make this work. All right. So once I get through that ARV times 70% minus my repairs, that equals my MAO. So let's use an example. Let's say we have a house with a $200,000 ARV. Got my calculator here. 200,000. We're going to times that by 0.7. That gives me 140,000. And let's say that my repairs are 40,000. All right. So that 140 minus 40, that takes me down to $100,000. So in this scenario, my MAO, my maximum allowable offer, will be $100,000. So what am I going to offer the seller?
Less than that.
Less than that. That's the answer. That's it. It's not rocket science. But I'm not going to offer that because that's the most that I can pay. And if I go in with the most that I can pay day one, right away, I'm shooting myself in the foot because I don't have any wiggle room to come up. So instead of offering 100, I'm going to probably offer like 80 or 85. And they're going to say, oh, you're crazy. I need at least 130. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to justify my offer to be fair, not low. And I'm going to give them some wiggle room, meaning I'm willing to come up to maybe 100, 95 to 100, but you're going to have to come down from that 140 number that you're wanting. The goal is, I got to get my camera here, right? It's they're there. I'm here. I'll come up a little, but they got to come way down. And that's meeting in the middle in my eyes, right? So that's how this whole process works. So that same equation, MAO equals ARV times 0.7 minus your repairs, is the same equation a wholesaler uses. They just add one more thing on it. They tack on a little bit more fee, and they essentially buy great and sell good, right? So when I'm buying as the investor to fix and flip or as a rental, I'm using the MAO equals ARV times 0.7 minus the repairs. I'm using that same formula they are. So if they want to be able to sell it to me at that same number, they either need to get an offer accepted below their MAO, or they need to add 5, 10, 15 grand to the right side of that equation, which brings that number down even 5, 10, 15 more thousand to where they're buying it great and they're selling it to me at good. So when you're wholesaling, you have to leave some meat on the bone. You have to, because nobody's going to want to buy it at retail. And I did that for 10 years on, the first, call it 15 properties, because I didn't know any better. I just didn't. So guys, if you want to learn, go check out freewholesalecourse.com. It's to be the best place to start. It's going to teach you the basics on what wholesaling is. We give away some free contracts and some free calculators. We show you us on some appointments talking to sellers and how that process works. We teach you how to estimate repairs. And then, of course, we go over that formula in detail so you guys won't forget it. But that's really it, man. It's buying at a discount. I am the discount property investor. That's like kind of what I go by. David Dodge, the discount property investor, because I do not pay retail. I don't do it. There's no reason to. I don't need to buy these properties. I'm willing to if I can get a good deal on them, but I don't need them. That's it.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, I know you wrapped it up pretty well, but is there anything you haven't said that you'd really just like to hammer home?
No, not at all, guys. Check out the Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate, Audible and Amazon. This book is my entire business, how I run appointments, how I talk to sellers, how I build a buyer's list. Basically, if you're interested in real estate investing, I would start with wholesaling. And the reason is because it's going to teach you how to market. And if you don't want to be a wholesaler, I get it. But start there. Do a couple deals because it's going to teach you how to buy at a discount. And then you can do like I do. Wholesaling to me is a means to an end to go find that next really, really sweet fix and flip, or that really sweet burr deal that I can add to the portfolio with none of my own money. That's going to pay me $400 or $500 a month, right? But you got to learn how to market. So again, freewholesalecourse.com as well is basically the companion in the book right here. See this nice little sticker? It says free course, free online course included. And they go hand in hand. The book and the course, they work really well together. But essentially, it's what you need to learn and get started. We've had tons of people take the course, probably close to 15,000 at this point. And I've gotten dozens and dozens of people that send me emails all the time that say, hey, I got my first deal from your course, and it's a free course. We offer a coaching program, Aaron. If somebody wants to, speed this process up and they don't want to spend, 2, 3, 4 months learning, we can get them into a deal in, 1 or 2 months, and they can hire me to help them do that. But they're going to have to bust their ass. Right. I mean, that's the way it is. Like, that's what a coach does. It makes it happen quicker. That's really what it is. But again, the free course is just a great place to start, Aaron. So I'd push everybody to that course to get started. No catch. It's free. Check it out.
Okay. I'll be sure to put that in the description.
Sweet. Cool, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you having me. It's been fun. You got any questions for me?
You pretty much just kind of wrapped it up. The only question I did have, you've kind of mostly answered it, but just wanted to elaborate more on, you talking about wholesaling versus flipping. And you were saying basically, keeping the best and then wholesaling the rest, right? Or something along those lines. So is there a particular dollar amount that you're looking for in cash flow that would say, hey, this would be a good flip? Or how do you measure whether you're going to wholesale or keep it as a flip for the portfolio?
That's a great question. So I get asked that that's probably the number one question I get, man. I love that you asked that. So I defined best. So keep the best, sell the rest. So I define best as what's best for my business right now. So if my business is cash poor, well, then none of them are the best, because I need to wholesale everything to make a bunch of cash. If I have a lot of cash right now, then I need to add properties to the portfolio, or I need to put them into a longer term flip model that pays more, but it takes more time, right? So basically, when I say keep the best, it depends on the business and what the business needs and what's best for the business at that time. And then I'm going to wholesale the rest. So there'll be periods of time where we'll go buy 15 houses and we'll wholesale 15 houses. There'll be other times when we'll go buy 10 houses, or let's say 15 again. We'll go buy 15 houses and we'll keep 10 of them. 3 of them are going to be fix and flips, and 7 of them are going to make great rentals. And we even sell our rentals off turnkey occasionally too. So we're always constantly buying, rehab, and renting. We'll either decide to keep them, or we'll at that point sell them. Similar to a fix and flip, we can make just as much money doing it in a shorter amount of time, getting them rented and selling them as investments too. So that's a great question. Best isn't defined by the deal. It's defined by the business. But to expand on that, when we're buying rentals specifically, because you did mention that, we want 20,000 equity and 300 a month cash flow minimum.
Great. Fair enough. That perfectly answered the question.
Very good. Cool. Well, hey, I got to run. Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful for your time. And it was so good to catch up with you and get to chat with you as well. Hopefully all the listeners and followers and viewers took away something here, right? Hopefully they learned a couple things. Ideally, the thing that you should take away from this, though, guys, is flipping houses with little to no money is super possible. I've done it 450 times. It's not easy, though. It's actually incredibly simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It requires a lot of hard work, and it requires marketing budgets and or some money to put into marketing. And if you were willing to do that, though, you can make a tremendous amount of money flipping houses with little to none of your own money in the deal itself. The leads cost money. So, and if you decide that you want to get into real estate investing, start with wholesaling because, again, it teaches you how to market. And then, again, once you get the deal, man, you got a lot of options. But without getting that deal, and you're buying retail or even paying 90 cents on the dollar, that's not a deal. You're going to get stuck, and you're going to have the opportunity or the possibility of losing money. I don't like to lose money. So if you buy it right, you can eliminate that from happening.
Absolutely. Sounds great. You summed it up really well. David, you've been an excellent guest. I sure as heck learned a lot, not only about you, but about your business and what you have to offer. And that was excellent. So thank you.
Sweet, man. Well, let's catch up soon. You guys have an awesome day. Signing off.
Absolutely. See you later.